Hello, hello, hello. This is Attorney Mike Gravel coming to you from Chicago as usual. And I have to thank Zach, as always, over at Law Nerds Unite, who's been helping me out all day. Also, Janelle Hofius and Love in Texas. I got all sorts of good clips, but right now, what is moved things along here is we've got a SovCit Emergency. We've got Jay Regier, AI prosecutor. Let's see this thing, shall we?
Mr. Sehi, it looks like you're back in jail on new charges. There's some of the same similar.
Judge,
Yep.
born on the record, I reserve all my rights under the Uniform Commercial Code, specifically UCC 1-308.
Okay, I'll note that. I'm going to quickly go over the charges with you. You should receive a copy of them and you can just read them yourself. But count one, you're charged with threatening Shannon Sehi on or about the 23rd day of April, 2025 in Butler County, Kansas.
That never happened.
They've not communicated what the exact threat is, but they've alleged that you threatened to commit violence or communicated with her with the intent to place her in imminent or immediate fear.
That's not true.
Okay, so I'm going to enter not guilty. If convicted, 5 months up to 17 months with the Department of Corrections, up to $100,000 fine has to run.
Judge, since this is the first court date, I would like the evidence to be presented for it on the record.
Okay, so what happens is, and I don't want to read it out loud, but the judge assigned will get an affidavit. Well, yep, I'm assigned. I will get a probable cause affidavit for this arrest. And if there is probable cause, which is something more than a mere possibility that a crime was committed and you may have committed said crime, then I approve the arrest. But then I go ahead and get your case set for preliminary hearings so that you can have actual evidence with representation, if you want it, for a probable cause finding with
Judge. But I'm not playing anything because, first of all, I was on my own property at my own house, and I had to explain to somebody that she has no jurisdiction what I do over my house, or even in my house or on the property or whatever. And she called the police on me, and then the police came on my property and said, I don't know what you're here for, but with all due respect, I don't want you on my property. And then they said that, well, we got a call that said that you were being violent and that you were threatening. And I said, well, that never happened, and you don't have to talk to me. You can talk to her. And so anyway, they ended up coming up on the porch, and I opened the door again. I said, I don't want you on my porch. And they said, well, we need to talk to you. We need to find out, And I said, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not violent. Wasn't violent at all. And so he said, well, she wants her keys. And so I said, oh, well, okay. Well, so I gave him the keys. So I gave that dude the keys so she could have them, but she could have came in and got the keys anytime she wanted to, because there are no threats. So anyway, the police officers, after I gave him the keys, he opened the door and said, well, now I'm going to have to arrest you. He said, you're under arrest for threatening. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. So I closed the door and I went the opposite direction. This dude kicked in the door and shot me in my back with a taser that burnt my back. Do that again, Judge. Do that one more time. Put the pin to the camera like you did. Did you switch something?
No, Mr. Sehi, I did not. Mr. Sehi.
Okay, well, anyway, that's what it is. And they ended up taking me to this place.
Oh, this is getting weird. Wow.
That I'm not supposed to be at because of how you and other judges and other people abuse me in here. And I really don't appreciate being in jail. And I want to let you know that for a fact that I'm the one that gave those videos out, and I reported how those babies were getting killed and blood was being spread all over the wall. I mean, you've seen the video. You admitted you did on the other court dates. So what is this, Judge? Are you against me having my own property? Are you against me exposing everybody for killing kids? For and on the record.
Mr. Seahigh, all I'm doing today is
Please stop moving your hand to the camera. You're doing that intentionally.
No,
stop doing that.
No,
You were told that I'm not supposed to be in this jail. You know for a fact I'm not supposed to be here. Where's the evidence at? For and on the record.
Turn off the audio. Now. Mr. Seahigh, in count 2, you're charged with battery against a law enforcement officer, a Class A person misdemeanor. If convicted, it's a maximum of 6 months, $1,000 fine. In count 3, you're charged with interference with the law enforcement officer, resisting arrest. If convicted, it's a level 9 non-person felony. In count 4, you're charged with threatening a police officer, Cody Marvin. It is charged by the prosecutor's office as criminal threat, a level 9 person felony. If convicted, you could receive 5 months up to 17 months with the Department of Corrections, up to $100,000 fine. I imagine count 2 through 4 are incidents that are caught on camera, as most of the officers wear body cams. Probably not count 1. That will have to be the statements of Shannon Seahigh as to any reporting of any threatening statements by you or actions by you. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on all of the charges. I'm going to schedule this case for an immediate preliminary hearing at the first available date I have, as well as I'm going to review the probable cause affidavit that should be submitted by today by the prosecutor's office for e-filing, so that I can determine whether or not they had probable cause for an arrest, and then give you a full hearing on May the 28th at 10 a.m. Now I'm going to set bond for you, and I'm going to ask for a recommendation from the state.
Yes, Your Honor, and the state is recommending a high bond in this case, as may be determined by the court. As part of special conditions, the state would be recommending no contact with any endorsed witnesses or alleged victims, that the defendant can take prescription medication and no drugs or alcohol. I believe the court has already indicated some familiarity with the defendant on the record here today. Additionally, this appears to be a defendant with a history of adjudications and convictions the court may consider relevant. Disorderly conduct and at least 2 battery against the school employee adjudications, as well as convictions for disorderly conduct, misdemeanor assault, domestic battery, criminal restraint, and felony interference with law enforcement. Pursuant to the affidavit, this appears to be a defendant who attempted to barricade himself within a residence, as well as threatened to kill multiple individuals, including at least 1 law enforcement officer. And it would also appear that there is another Butler County case, Butler County 21 CR 457, which does appear to involve a journal entry of judgment of direct contempt of court signed by Chief Judge Rickey. And in that case, it would appear that the defendant was convicted of battery, in which the victim was a detention deputy.
Okay. I'm sorry, what was the amount that you're recommending?
Your Honor, the state is prepared to defer to the court as to an appropriate amount. Certainly, the state would not be opposed to a $7,500 cash or surety bond. However, given the particular facts and the history of this defendant, the state does respectfully suggest a much higher bond is appropriate.
Okay, well, I'm going to set his bond at $10,000 cash or surety with GPS. Absolutely no contact whatsoever with Ms. Seahigh And I assume she still has his child, but I don't know. I'm actually surprised if they were in contact or living together. If he had remained attentive and didn't leave the room here this afternoon, I would have asked him for any statements he wanted to make about bond. And I probably would have asked him about his living situation and any potential no contact orders with Shannon Seahigh. I'm going to assume, since he's not charged with violating a no contact order of any kind, that they were allowed to resume cohabitating, either as he flattened his time or his probation expired or someone lifted no contacts. It's been a while since I've had any cases with Mr. Seahigh. My cases with him were disposed of rather quickly. But at any rate, that's the bond. I gave him an expedited, this is actually a preliminary hearing, not a control setting. I don't know if Mr. Watts will have a conflict with representing him. It seems like maybe Mr. Favre has been his attorney previously. So if Mr. Watts does, he can forward the case to Mr. Favre.
And Your Honor, what I would tell the court is that journal entry of sentencing in Butler County 21 CR 457, it would appear that that journal entry does make reference to Mr. Favre, and in response to the court's earlier inquiry, it would appear that the court did order 6 months in jail, but that the defendant was awarded credit for time served.
Okay, so essentially flattened his sentence. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Jared, how about, yeah, I looked at the record. Favre was the attorney. That's all. That's all you need to say, my man.
Now, these preliminary hearings are in person. So he's to appear in person, and at least he won't be aggravated with my pen because he won't be able to see anything in my hand in the courtroom when I'm on the bench. But historically, he's failed to come out of his cell. And I don't know if he has a history of failing to appear if he makes bond, but we will deal with that if and when it happens. But this is, as I indicated, evidentiary hearing with witnesses in my courtroom on May the 28th at 10 o'clock. Okay, we are adjourned.
And Your Honor, just to be clear, the court is appointing Mr. Watts to this case?
Yes,
Thank you, Your Honor.
he will transfer it to Mr. Favre if he needs to. And I'm pretty confident he'll want to if he has a reason to. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
I did it again, didn't I? Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay.
Wow. Okay, so I have a stream set up right now. I was waiting to do that, and then we have this emergency. But now that we're here, we'll go with the happy hour stream in addition to that. But that was crazy. He started strong. I hadn't seen it. Zach tipped me off to it, or I wouldn't have known about it. I had not seen it, so I was watching that fresh. And he starts out with, "Hey, they come harassing me on my property." Now I take that with a grain of salt, but it's a good argument to start with. And then he's like doing his UCC thing, which is comically stupid. That's fun. But in substance, he was doing fine. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I don't necessarily believe him, but that if what he's saying is true, that's kind of a defensible case. What's going on here? And then he just goes into pure psycho mode. Just telling the judge she can't point her finger. The Sarah Pike Levy defense, everyone's guilty of the worst things in the world. Just throw those allegations at literally everybody. That routine. Wow. That got intense. It was fun. Regeer's expression was priceless. the whole way. It always is, but it was especially good. All right. Let's go to our regularly scheduled program then.
So we'll start with our 3 o'clock calendar. And on that one, we'll start at the back of the alphabet to give those folks a break. Krista Zornacki. No, it always works this way. The one who's going to get the benefit isn't here.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. You can leave it muted until I call your name.
Okay, I just got online. I've been scrambling for the last half hour.
Okay,
So I don't know if
you're in the
calling
right
yet.
spot. We'll get to you in a little bit.
Okay.
Yu Zhang,
No.
you're muted. Ni hao. You're muted.
Hello.
Here we go. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Well, shishia.
Like when you read the summary, it looks like an officer detained him on a bicycle.
I mean, I just got a couple short clips. I forgot about this. I got a couple short clips from Fleischer. I couldn't not do it with the leopard print freaking coat. I can't even deal with it. And he gets all up in his, he gets the way Fleischer does. But you can't take it seriously with this coat on.
And that he was wearing different clothes from the description of the foot pursuit, that clothes were ditched.
I don't know.
So then they did a drive-by identification of the suspect.
Mr. Robinson, what is the one thing I asked you not to do? The one thing I asked you not to do. Not be a danger to my city or pick up a new case. You've now picked up a very
The second thing was to not wear a competing animal print to court at your next appearance.
I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case, and I'm now going to put a monitor on you so I know where you are at all times. If you get out of custody, because now I'm revoking your bond, you will go to jail. If he gets out, GPS monitor not to go within 500 feet.
He has a GPS monitor on him.
Putting him in custody. No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons, no going within 500 feet of where the complaining witness lives, were. And I'm going to tell you now, because I don't know if you're going to get out, but if you do, you endanger my city again, I'm going to go ballistic on all of your bonds. Do you understand? Goes with you.
I'd bail that guy out myself if he just asked the judge if Barry Manilow knows he raises his wardrobe. I know it's an old reference. Some of you will get it, but it needs to be said here.
Every time you take off and when we revoke your bond, all you do is you're giving money to bonding companies. You just enrich bonding companies. That's all you do. I don't know if you got a lot of free money, but if so, I'm okay with that. But I'm telling you now, Mr. Simmons, that you will be signing an affidavit promising you're not going to drive. I don't care what your excuse is. If Holy Mother Mary comes from and asks you for a ride from church, you drive. You can be facing an additional 6 months in jail on a contempt and a $500 fine every time you drive. Do you understand? Do not drive.
Good afternoon. Your names?
Donald Rose.
Mr. Rick.
This is just fantastic. I like Judge Norbeck so much. It's always the same thing. Every day he goes and he gets nothing but abuse. People are just nasty to him, and he doesn't care at all. He doesn't care. He's absolutely immune to it. It's awesome.
Yesterday when we gave you PR bonds, I did not know that you have a felony case the next day, but here it is, 251400FY. I'm going to read this to you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Carrie Dibble
I had a
appearing
P-
on behalf of
I had
Mr.
a
Rose
PR
for
bond
limited
immediately
purposes.
when I came in. It was an immediate PR bond. You didn't
Hold
give
on.
it to me.
Hold on, Mr. Rose. For limited purposes of arraignment, we did review the felony complaint and its charges along with the maximum penalties. We would waive formal reading of that, ask the court to enter not guilty plea on his behalf, set this for probable cause conference and a preliminary examination. I did screen Mr. Rose for court-appointed counsel. He did qualify, and that form has been submitted to the court. I would ask the court to consider a personal recognizance bond on this case.
I got to get to
This
work,
case-
Mr. Norbeck, please.
Yeah, sir, you're not getting a PR bond. Not only is this
fuck you
case
then.
a habitual offender fourth, but you know you're going to get cases as soon as those labs come back. You have $5,000 cash or charity.
Suck my dick.
No drugs,
bitch.
no alcohol, no marijuana.
Suck my dick, bitch.
I already got next court dates, May 8th for probable cause conference, May 14th for preliminary hearing. That's all courtroom A in front of Judge Scotchless. You will get copies of those dates and times. You must show up for those dates and times. If you're still incarcerated, corrections will make you available. You are all set, sir.
He doesn't skip a beat. He doesn't care. He does not care what a defendant says to him at all, ever.
Hello, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Your name?
Alejandro Tolentino.
Mr. Tolentino also forgot to tell us that he picked up a new felony case when we let him out on PR bond yesterday. This is a different case than yesterday. It is now a felony.
2 in a row where they forgot to tell us about their felonies yesterday. So he carries on. He doesn't care. I left this on. It's just funny. Well, you'll see the end of this is a little funny, but mostly I left it in because you see the guard in the back trying to calm the other guy down.
File 251402FY. I'm going to read it to you so make sure you understand.
Thank you, Your
charges.
Honor. Carrie Dibble appearing on behalf of Mr. Tolentino for the limited purposes of arraignment. We did review the felony complaint together along with its maximum penalties and would waive formal reading of the complaint, ask the court to enter a not guilty plea on his behalf and set this for probable cause conference and preliminary examination. He did qualify for court-appointed counsel yesterday, and so I qualified him today for this case as well, and that form has been sent to the court. I understand the nuances of the fact that he received a PR bond yesterday and had this case also pending. I would ask the yes, Your Honor. I would ask the court to consider a PR bond on this case or a low bond, unless that we can modify relatively quickly his bond from yesterday so that he can at least accrue time on both charges.
Well, that I think we can do. So I had a set bond here in the amount of $5,000 cash or surety. It is a protective condition of bond, meaning all the same things we went over yesterday. You cannot have contact with Victoria. You can't go where she lives or where she works. But if you're not expecting to make bond on this case and you think you're going to be sitting in jail for a while, what we will do is pull your case from yesterday and we'll change that from a PR bond to a low cash surety. So at least you'll be getting time served on that case as well, as long as you're sitting around. You understand why we do that? It actually means more bonds you'd have to make to get out, but at least you're getting credit for all your cases while you're sitting in jail. Does that make sense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You already
You'll see that it's minor, but you'll see from his question he doesn't understand. All that went over his head. It wasn't complicated, but it went over his head.
We have next court dates. May 8th is a probable cause conference. May 13th, the preliminary hearing. That's in courtroom B in front of Judge Belargin. You will get copies of those dates and times. You must show up for those dates and times. If you're still incarcerated, corrections will make you available. And just so we're all listening, I think yesterday was a misdemeanor file, so we'll change that to $500 cash surety instead of $500 PR, but then you'll be getting time served on both cases. But you'd have to make $5,500 worth of cash surety bonds to get out. All right?
So I won't be getting a PR bond.
What's that?
I won't be getting a PR bond. I won't get a PR bond then?
No, big dummy. You're not getting a PR bond. That's what this entire event was about. Tell me you didn't hear anything I said without telling me you didn't hear anything I said.
Okay.
This is a felony file, so you wouldn't get a PR. And then we'll set this aside. I want to make sure we pull that and change the bond on his case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Here, fine.
All
How
right.
about, you hear me good, okay, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is New Res LLC versus Jared Michael Benek on Electric Court in Sturgis. Attorney Irela Albu is here from the Trot and Trot Law Firm in Detroit on behalf of New Res LLC. This property was sold at a foreclosure action last August 22nd. And this probably has been in the works for several years. You have 180 days to vacate, or they can bring this action. They've waited well beyond that. And at this point, it's the bank or this New Res intentions to take possession of this property and probably sell it. What's your position, Mr. Benek?
Okay, the only position I really have is we started out, my son, I'm the father, and we started out with a payment plan with them at 3-point-something% rate interest. And they never told us anything. After about 2 years, it started going up and he got behind. It was like a taxi kid is kicked out. We couldn't pay. There's no way you could pay and keep up. And on top of it, he lost his job and he tried to fix all that too. So we went through a lot
So
of
are you
hardship
a co-signer for your son?
I'm just speaking for his behalf because and I'm really tired. I take care of most of the stuff in his house. He's like almost sleeping here in the chair. I can show you if you want to see him.
Well, all right, just a minute. What's your name?
Michael Benek. I'm his father. I've talked to them before. And
Just a minute. Mr. Benek, do you have a law degree?
No, I do not. I don't have to have a degree to stand to freedom of speech.
Wake him up.
So,
I don't need to talk to him. I need to talk to him.
Well, he would like to have a statement. I guess I can't speak in his behalf.
No, you can't.
No.
You need to have a law license to represent somebody in a legal action.
Well, I guess I'll have to go to court then, won't we? All I'm doing is just trying to tell him we're not fighting over the house.
All right,
we already have it signed. We don't care
let me
what happens.
talk about.
You're in court, dummy. You're in court talking to a judge and you're losing. It's basically asking for the supervisor, but it's fun.
Where we are here. Okay. Your son had a variable rate mortgage and his rent went up or his payment went up and he wasn't able to make it.
They doubled it.
This is my turn to talk. This is my turn to talk. So he hadn't made the payment probably in several years. Probably it wasn't made at all in 2024 and probably part of 2023. The house was foreclosed on last August. So this didn't sneak up and bite you in the ankle.
No, we
this
didn't.
property.
But we didn't get any. We didn't talk to him, sir.
You got a notice from the sheriff that your house has been foreclosed on. So they can't do it unless you get notice. They posted on there. So you've lived there at least since August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, and soon to be May without making any payment. So your son has the benefit of free housing. So I want to talk to him, or I'm going to default him. Sitting there sleeping in a chair. Wake up, dude. You're about to get kicked out of your house. Are you Jared Michael Benek?
Yes.
All right. The mortgage company wants your house back. And they have asked you to move. Have you made any provision to move?
I've been having a hard time getting money to move.
Yes, well, you've lived there for free for 2 years. So theoretically, no one.
Hey, Judge, yes. So I gather.
Does. You should have a big pile of money when you didn't make your house payment to move somewhere else. But this proceeding is an unpleasant one. It is what property owners and landlords do to get their tenant out. The tenant would never move otherwise. You've known since last August that they want you to move. We're now almost in May. So I have to continue this matter. I'm going to continue it to May 2nd at 3 o'clock. Does that work for you, Ms. Albu?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, this is the end of a long process. They had a sheriff's sale last August. And you had 180 days to redeem the property. March, which would have been March. And now you haven't redeemed it, so they're asking you to move out. They want to take possession of the premises. So if they get what they asked for on May 2nd, I would order that you be out of the house by May 12th, which is 17 days from now.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll talk about this further. Now, I read the advice of rights, but you were sitting there in a chair. I don't know whether you were paying attention or not, but what I did say is you have the right to obtain counsel for representation in this matter. If you cannot afford an attorney, a legal aid attorney may be available to help you. So I sent you the information with legal aid's name and number on it. You could contact them. But I don't really know that you have a defense. You haven't made your payment. The bank foreclosed on it. 180 days passed and you didn't redeem it. And now they want the property back. And so it's a tough situation. We do this every Monday and Friday. And people are struggling. But have you made any effort to find a place to move to?
What do you ask?
Any effort to find a place.
No, we just started because we didn't get informed that they sold the house. I'm trying to tell you, there was no communication between these people. They came to our door and wanted to give us a paper to go to court here. It's the only time we ever spoke with them. But I mean, he doesn't know what to say. He's a young guy. I was helping him get the house. I use even my own money. I'm going to die soon, so I don't care. But all we're trying to do is just leave the house. Give us 30 days or a little bit more and we'll move. My daughter was buying the house.
We can talk about that next week. Sergeant Bruce Morse posted this on your door. It was published in the, I think, Three Rivers Commercial back in June of 2024 that the sheriff's sale would be in August. They posted it on your door. You didn't show up at the sheriff's sale. It was actually adjourned from July 11th to August 22nd. So they did post it on your door. And then you got notice with this when they served the notice to quit on you several months ago. But you do know you haven't made any payment on the house probably in 2 years. So they're foreclosing on that. So we'll talk about that. You may ask for 30 days or something, and they may be willing to grant that. Ms. Albu can check with her client and see what consideration they can give. But I would suggest you start making plans to move. The date would be May 12th. If the plaintiff agrees, they could give you more time than that. So we will do this again next Friday at 3 o'clock.
What happened to have you in the picture of buying the house? Whatever.
Do you want to ask for more? What did you ask? Another question?
No, we just thought that since my daughter took over the contract and he's buying it, that it would clear his record and wouldn't have to mess with this at all because she's buying it.
I don't know about that. So your daughter's buying the property from Shell Point?
Told me she already has agreement and stuff and that she's buying it. I can get her out of there next time you want, but
Well, they
And
haven't got possession of it yet.
And he
Who's,
said, I
what's your
could just let
daughter's
you
name?
guys move and you gotta move, but she wants us out in a few months anyway, so we were trying to do that. That's what we started working on.
What's your daughter's name?
Abigail, Butts. I think she's still got her original last married name. She hasn't got rid of that yet.
And she is purchasing it from who?
And she says she's got the bank approved through some bank to buy it, and it was already approved that she was buying it. She's moving.
All right,
She
well,
said
let's
she
talk
took over
about
stuff
that.
here, and I took care of her kids for 3 months and didn't get paid
Well,
a dime. I'm trying to help her.
They can't sell it until they take possession of it. They don't have the authority to sell it right now, so she may have a bank ready to loan her money to purchase it, but it isn't for sale yet.
So
All
we
right.
waited that long because we thought she was doing something through there. Oh my God.
Okay,
Okay, well, I
All
guess
right,
we're
we'll
lost.
talk
too.
about
So
this.
What we're gonna do is just try to move as soon as we can. I don't care what's going on. This is all a bunch of crooked shit. We're just gonna get out of it. We're gonna move, and if you don't get his record
Sir?
straight.
Sir, I don't want
I'm
you to
sorry.
curse on the record. And it isn't crooked. Your
did I
son didn't
curse?
make the payments.
Oh, I
They
said
gave him
shit.
notice.
Oh.
You've been living there free for 2 years and
Okay,
somehow the
okay,
banks are
but
crooked.
We were trying to move. We're
We'll
trying to
be
do the
back
things
next
you know what
week
Tommy's
at
like.
3 o'clock. You can rant at each other there in the apartment and I'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you,
There
Your
may
Honor.
be some crooked stuff going on, but I don't think it's the bank. All right, Ms. Albu, thank you. I did most of the talking and you just had to sit here and listen to me, but we'll see what we can do next week. And if you check with your client, they can give them some additional time to vacate.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Betke, why don't you come up here and have a seat? Yep.
Man, everybody's out of line today.
Hello, booking. Judge Middleton calling. I waited until we were ready. We need to see Jeffrey Gibson by Zoom for a landlord-tenant hearing. All right, thanks. Bye.
I have not seen this.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Judge, this is my neighbor, Mr. Zimmerman. He has dealings with Jeff also.
Okay.
And the last time we were in here, Jeff made a statement that he bought 2 cars from Mr. Zimmerman, and that was not true.
All right.
And when I called Mr. Zimmerman and told him, he was upset about it. He said that was totally wrong. And he wanted to come today.
Well, you're welcome to be here, sir. It's a public proceeding and anybody can come in the courtroom. I broadcast these on YouTube, so if people want to watch it that way, but certainly in the old days, everything was done in the courtroom and the only people that saw it were the 2 or 3 people that were here for good or for ill. When we get Mr. Gibson in here, we'll give a little update on what's been going on in his world.
Can I ask you, have you been laying out in the sun?
I've been standing in Sarasota Bay watching my granddaughters play in the sand.
I see.
I was in Siesta Key for 10 days.
I go to the tanner, but I see you've got the little white circles under your eyes
Yeah,
like I do
raccoon
too.
eyes. No, I got this the good old fashioned way, making sand castles and I don't like to put sunblock on my face, and that's my shortcoming. Although by the time we got back, it's actually been starting to get nice here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't nice when I was gone, but it was certainly nice.
You were gone, what, a couple weeks?
I was gone 6 working days.
Oh, I see. The only time I've been to Florida, it was in Sarasota, and I liked it.
Well, Sarasota is a nice town. It's very crowded. All of Florida right now is very crowded, but I get to where I'm going and I stay there. Stay up till almost 9 o'clock. Playing with little kids all day tends to tire me out. All right, Mr. Gibson, the man had to wake him up. He knew about this hearing, but I don't think the jail staff did. If I call, this happened just the other day, if I call an hour early and say, I'm gonna need Mr. Gibson at 2:10, they forget. So I call at 2 and say I need him at 2:10. Yesterday, they got caught up in something else in the 10 minutes. So I sat here for 17 minutes and then I called again and they said, oh, we're sorry, we got caught up with something. So the jail staff is busy. But it's easier to do a Zoom connection than to put them in a car and drive them over here. It's also safer. Our lockup back there is woefully inadequate. So we'll just wait.
Okay.
They may be doing some arraignments. Judge Pattison, maybe that may be the problem. We've got about 4 rooms. One's called a magistrate room, one called a booking room. This one was the original Zoom connection we had. I think that's what happened. I think that one of the other main rooms is in use. This room always had the best sound. There we go. Good afternoon, Mr. Gibson.
Good afternoon.
This is Judge Middleton again. This is a continuation of the landlord-tenant case. Title of the case is Roberta Betke versus Jeffrey Gibson. File number is 25580. This was filed as a termination of tenancy action. And we were here previously on April 7th. The matter was adjourned for about, how long is that? 17 days or so, because I was gone on a vacation. So we set for today. Mr. Gibson, in the meantime, we knew this at the time, he had a trial pending in circuit court. And earlier this week, he was convicted of a couple of firearm charges and is pending sentence in circuit court. Mr. Gibson asked me at our last hearing if I could let him out of jail to take care of this stuff. And I didn't have the authority to do it. After the conviction, I talked with Judge Stutzman, advised him we had this hearing today. He advised me he canceled Mr. Gibson's bond in light of the convictions, and he wasn't eligible to bond out. So Miss Betke is still asking for her property back for you to return, get your stuff off of there. Mr. Gibson, I know it's difficult to do anything while you're incarcerated. Have you had any progress in removing your stuff?
I'm in jail, sir. How can I move anything? I can't get a hold of anybody. That's why I asked you from the get-go if I could take care of all this stuff. Now I'm gonna lose everything because you revoked my bond. When I had a bond, I could have bonded out and took care of all this stuff.
Well, once the matter was bound over to circuit. Well,
thanks a lot.
Yeah, that's all my fault.
I'm
continue to contact people after.
I'm asking for a jury trial. Go ahead. I guess I'm asking for a jury trial on this as well, and if you could waive my my fee, my $50 fee, because I'm incarcerated.
It's too late for that. You have to do that within 5 days of the hearing, the first hearing. So, I'm going to grant her the relief she asked for. I find after hearing, you have 10 days to remove your property. That's May 12th. Excuse me.
Just lost everything. Appreciate that.
Yeah, okay.
That's what you get for being good to people, or people who know people. You know what I mean?
I guess
That's
so.
what you get.
You have until May 5th to appeal this. In addition to the case that you just had, you have, I think, 2 more cases pending in circuit court. Somehow this is my fault and not yours. At any rate, she wants you to vacate. I've given you 10 days to get a hold of your brother or somebody and see if they can get any of this stuff out of there.
Have you,
have 10 days to appeal this.
Has anything been moved at all that you know of?
Miss Betke, is everything still there?
His four-wheeler was taken by his niece. And the Zion, the car he was driving, was taken. And at the last time we were here, Mr. Gibson had made some type of a statement that he had some paper notarized saying that they were going to take this stuff. I never seen any paper. Nobody showed me anything. In fact, the car was just, she came about the four-wheeler and her boyfriend came, and I don't know where he got the keys, but he got in and he took the car without saying a thing.
Well, I gave him permission to do that.
All right, very good, very good. All right, I don't have to like this, I don't, but it is what it is. I'll send you a
Yeah,
copy.
I mean, my point is, can you ask her if she can give them a reasonable amount of time to get the stuff out there, and maybe she can
Yes, it
contact
would
my
make
family, whatever, because I can't get a hold of anybody.
I understand. Miss Betke, you can ask for eviction on or after May 12th, excuse me, May 5th, but you don't have to ask for the writ for 56 days. Might make more sense to give the family time to get this stuff off of there than have the sheriff come and make a big mess pulling everything out of there. So you can come back after May 5th with $15 and ask for a writ of eviction, but you don't have to. You have 56 days from today, which would be sometime in June, to ask for that. And it might make more sense to let his family try to come get his property.
His family has been very well aware of all of this, and nobody seems to be making anything except for what they wanted.
Yes. All right. I don't
My yard is a mess from him. I have no grass. I have.
All right, well, if you
I
want to
have
ask
junk
for
all over my
it
yard.
after May 5th, they can pursue it. All right, Mr. Gibson, that's all I got.
Sir, anyway.
If you go out to the counter, I'll give you a copy of this order.
Okay, is there any way that Mr. Zimmerman can say what he wanted to while he was here?
It isn't relevant to this landlord-tenant case. It had to do with some cars or something Mr. Gibson was talking about, but Mr. Gibson isn't here because I just removed him. But
Mr. Gibson made the point that he paid for those cars, and he did not.
All
and
right.
Mr. Zimmerman wants those cars back.
Well, then that's up to you guys.
Okay.
All right, I'll go out to the counter and get a copy of this, and you're good to go. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Also, there's money and stuff that he owes me for things.
Yes, if you wish to file a claim for money damages, you can do that. He isn't gonna be in a position to pay any money.
Yes.
He's likely to get a prison sentence. So you can pursue that if you wish to. You could, let me see, I don't think you paid the fee for supplemental damages.
Well, just.
Yes, you did pay the fee for supplemental damages.
And
So
then-
once all the stuff is removed and you have the total bill, you can ask for a hearing for damages, but he isn't gonna be able to pay anything. He doesn't have any money. He's in jail and he's gonna be there for a while. But you do have the right to ask for a hearing on it.
All right, the car that was taken without anybody saying anything, Mr. Gibson just put a new radiator in
All right,
on that.
He's not here anymore, so I don't want to talk about this stuff outside his
All right,
presence.
well, I just got the bill for that radiator.
Well,
But I
you
don't
can
have the
file a
car.
bill for money damages. Whether you can collect or not is an open question. Probably not very well.
Well, is there any way I can get the car back?
You have to have the title.
He doesn't have the title, as far as I know, for either one of them.
Well, you don't have it either, so whoever owns
But
it.
he talked Mr. Zimmerman into signing the titles. And then he never pursued it as far as getting them registered. He drove around for 2-3 months without a license.
All right,
without
again, he's not
insurance.
here anymore. I don't want to talk about it ex parte. So this matter is complicated and you're got a big messy yard with a bunch of stuff in it. All right, go out to the counter and get that order and then I wish you the best, but this is not over. It's gonna probably take all summer to get this resolved.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I guess sit back out there and get the paperwork taken care of or whatever. Pick up whatever. he wants me to get.
These are Dorinda Brumfield's rent receipts. I tried to give them back to her, but she got out of here. So I want to keep them with the file because there's going to be a money damage hearing at some point. She claims that she paid the rent. All right, that is all we got here today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was something.
All right, that finishes our Friday afternoon.
There you have it. No one can behave in court today. Even her. She's muttering on the way out, trying to have an ex parte conversation, trying to get free legal advice from the judge on matters that are unrelated. But at least she wasn't swearing at the judges. At the judge, like the last guy and the guy before that. The SovCit was pure psycho, but I don't think he swore. I don't know. I might have to switch the thumbnail to the SovCit. That was intense. I just thought we were gonna have our usual goofy, I don't understand, I don't consent, and jurisdiction. But no, he went full Sarah Pike Levy. He went full psycho. Good times. We had who else did we had? Oh, we had Flesher and Leopard Print. That was trying to act tough. Oh, good Lord. Good Lord. Good stream for a Friday happy hour. Thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate it. As usual, behave yourselves. Get yourself an Uber. I'm not bailing you out. You know the drill. You know the drill around here.